How you doing? And welcome to Sportce Daily. Darrell, Reid alongside my co-partner Michael Artsis on this beautiful Cinco de Mayo afternoon.
Happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody. It is the 5th of May, and that means that it's time to partay. What are you doing for Cinco de Mayo?
You know what? I didn't have any big plans, but now I'm going to make some just because Mike reminded me that it was Cinco de Mayo today.
I mean, we're in Times Square, in the heart of New York City. I think it's time to party up after this.
We got to party it up. I mean, it's a party here. It's New York City. The president is in town.
The president is in town, by the way, and he said it's no time to gloat, so he did seem to agree with me. They're not releasing those photographs of Osama bin Laden, but I will say that he is in town and he's made traffic horrendous. But since it's Cinco de Mayo, we can still celebrate and have a good time.
You know what? And I actually usually take the Holland Tunnel in, but since he's going to be downtown around the World Trade Center area, I decided to take the Lincoln, and it was a breeze.
Wow, I took the GWB, the West Side Highway, shut down. For those of you who are not New Yorkers, you have no idea what we're talking about, but this is the worst New York City traffic gets anytime the president's in town, and that's why
roadblocks everywhere, streets shut down, snipers everywhere.
And that's why New Yorkers say no parades and no president in town.
I mean, because if you're working, you can't worry about what's going on, like the president being here. You got to be at work.
Exactly. 347-480-1724, the number to call. Call and speak with Artie in the back. He'll put you through. Tell him what you want to talk about. And I've got a topic for today. I want to talk about what is your favorite car chase scene in a movie. Now, Bullitt was like the original car chase scene in any movie, 1968, Steve McQueen and the Bullitt Mustang, and the movie is Bullitt. Now, since then, Mustang has released a special edition Bullitt movie edition several times, and the car was green. It had no logo in the front, and it was a very exciting car chasing, but it was really the first of its kind. And then, of course, the French Connection in the 70s was another big one. That ran through New York City versus Bullitt, which was in San Francisco. Now, there are some things in Bullitt that people have watched, like 8 hubcaps fall off the same car. It only has 4 wheels. And they go around the same turn about 3 or 4 times. But I want to know what your favorite chase scene in a movie is, and by the end of the show, I'll tell you mine. So tweet us at sports_media, and also call us up, 347-480-1724. You can talk about other topics as well. But last night I was thinking about car chase scenes, and I started thinking about them.
I don't even think I have a favorite car chase scene.
We're going to have to think about it by the end of the show.
I got to go back and watch some movies. You know what, Mike has? I think, Mike, you have a better memory than me. Like, you remember a lot of BS, and I remember like important stuff.
Important stuff. Like, let's talk about something important that you might remember. Your mom's birthday?
Yeah, I remember my mom's birthday. It took me a long time, but now I remember.
What else? Do you remember your Social Security number?
Yeah, like I know, like, credit card numbers by heart.
Oh, that's important because you can't pull it out of your pocket and look.
I mean, sometimes it comes in handy. Sometimes it comes in handy.
And I remember credit card numbers by heart too.
I remember like my old addresses, like all my old addresses.
I remember. Well, I remember the
addresses.
And
I've moved a lot.
You have moved a lot. I remember
all
addresses,
over
but
New Jersey,
I don't remember phone numbers.
Indiana.
Do you remember old phone numbers?
Just the best ones. I had some hot phone numbers.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I got a pretty good home phone number right now.
I had 0051. My number was 51 in college, so my phone number was 0051.
Okay.
Now I got the 9995 number.
That's a good number, yeah.
So those are some
My number spells something interesting out now.
I gotta look at it. I gotta put it on paper and look at it, or look at. You remember like back in the day when they had beepers?
Yes.
And you used to put the message, and it used to be like upside down. It used to say something. Like,
yes, I remember that. Like hello.
Yeah.
And then 143.
Yeah.
That was
you could write a couple things.
You could write a lot of things.
Yeah, it was interesting. Back in the beeper days, baby.
But do you remember the alphanumeric beepers?
Yeah, but before the alphanumeric beepers, you had to try to write things with the numbers.
Exactly.
That's when things were fun.
Do you remember when you would collect call somebody and they got automated? So you'd try.
What was hello? 773 4.
Right.
There you go, and you got hello.
Do you remember when you would collect call somebody when they put the automated attendant on the collect calling, and you would collect call somebody and it would say, please state your name after the beep, and it would go beep, and you'd say, pick me up at 7, Mom, and then it would go, your mom would pick up the phone and it would say, "You have a collect call from Pick Me Up at 7, Mom." You remember doing that kind of thing too? The collect call, that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that because you were calling from a payphone.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing was. So you didn't have enough time. So instead of saying your name at the beep, you don't have any money, no change on you. You're like, "Pick me up at 4."
Exactly.
Yeah. So that she never accepts the call, so she doesn't pay that fee.
Because they're expensive.
$1.99. Like as soon as you accept the call,
Exactly.
I believe it was like $2 or something.
And I bet you like Artie has never even used a payphone.
I don't think there are any payphones out on the island.
I think there are very few payphones.
Nah, it's got to be some payphones in Staten Island.
I think that there are very few.
You know
payphones
what?
in
Staten
general.
Island still has payphones. Definitely. Definitely.
Artie, have you ever used a payphone ever in your life?
Yeah, I mean, they were huge in the 90s. Cell phones aren't, I mean,
Artie,
they haven't been
you were
around.
so
forever.
young. He's so young. He's so young.
They were huge in the 90s when he was like 4.
No, cell
called
phones didn't really start to emerge until around 2000
Artie,
when people really started
What are
to.
you talking about
Artie,
until
Yeah.
2000?
did you ever have a beeper?
No, I was too young.
Okay. Well, that tells you how young Artie is. But we're going to have to get to some sports stuff eventually, so let's dive right in and talk about your Los Angeles Lakers.
Wait a second. I thought it's my Dallas Mavs. Now it's my Los Angeles Lakers. No, here's the deal. I thought that the Lakers were going to go all the way to the finals, and I thought the Heat would knock them off. And I do like the Mavs. And I like what the Mavs are doing.
You love Mark Cuban. You even have him up on your iPad right now.
I do. Not intentionally.
Look, I mean, of course, everybody's a fan of Jack Nicholson, but you see, he keeps Mark Cuban on his iPad.
Well, I don't keep him. That's ESPN.com right there.
Whatever.
Okay,
My ESPN.com didn't come up like that.
Jack Nicholson looks terrible, by the way.
When did Jack look good? He's the Joker. When did Jack Nicholson really look good?
I think that Jack was the best Joker, by the way. I saw the movie with Heath Ledger, and Heath was okay, but to me, there's nobody who was scarier than Jack Nicholson.
He's the original. But, Heath kind of spun the role a little bit and just was more of like a villain, just more like...
Yeah, well, I think Heath was darker, but I think that Jack was scarier because he seemed more unpredictable. Heath, you knew, just wanted to do damage and destruction. But the Joker, it just seemed unpredictable. And
of course, the original is always the best.
Yeah.
Just like the original Batman, the original Superman. It's always the best.
I also thought Michael Keaton was the best Batman.
Exactly, the original.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And nobody would have guessed that Michael Keaton should have been Batman before that movie. When I heard Michael Keaton was going to be Batman, I thought it was ridiculous. But anyway, Mark Cuban has done a wonderful job in Dallas, and now Dallas leads the series 2-0 over the Lakers. I'm surprised. I certainly thought it would be tied 1-1 at this point. I thought Kobe would pull the team on his shoulders, and, they do have a good group of players around him that I thought would really get their act together. A lot of people have said it's got to hinge on Bynum. And I did say if Bynum was healthy, I thought the Lakers would win.
And you know what? You know what's crazy? Last night, Bynum had a great game. He went for 18 and 13, 18 points, 13 rebounds, and they still lost. Kobe contributed, his 23, 24. But where was Mark Gasol? Where was Paul Gasol? I'm sorry. Where was Paul Gasol? Where was Derek Fisher, Ron Artest? And they got nothing from their bench.
Maybe they were all staring at Khloe Kardashian sitting courtside.
Obviously, Lamar only had 6 points. I mean, they got nothing from their bench, and that's what really cost them because Dallas's bench came out with that energy last night. You had J.J. Barrera.
Is it possible this is Dallas's year? I mean, they've been in this race for the last several years. Since Mark Cuban has taken over the team has been very exciting. They get Jason Kidd back, and they got Dirk Nowitzki. Is this possibly their year?
It's definitely looking like that. I think the biggest things for them were the trade for Haywood and the signing of Chandler, because those guys, now they have that post presence, not on the offensive side of the court. They didn't really need it on the offensive side of the court, but they needed it on the defensive side of the court. And now they can match up with Paul Gasol and Andrew Bynum. So basically that matchup was neutralized, in the past 2 games by Brandon Haywood and by Tyson Chandler.
if the Mavs are to win the NBA championship, they go on, they beat the Lakers, they go on, and they beat whoever.
Let me ask you this before you
yeah.
even get into that question. Do you think if the Mavs finish this series and beat the Lakers, that they're going to go to the championship?
I think that if they finish this series and beat the Lakers, yes, they'll have the confidence and they'll be rolling enough, especially if they win in 4 or 5 games. And I think that what will happen then is that they'll have enough confidence. They'll feel like a team of destiny. Things will be rolling. Certainly Jason Kidd has been to the finals several times. He knows what it takes. And I think that his leadership will help them get to the finals. And I think that the finals, when they run into the Heat, could be a really good matchup then, especially the way we see them playing. And I'm predicting the Heat going to the finals there.
So you're sticking with the Heat?
Yeah.
All right, the Heat are looking good. I can't argue with that. The Heat are looking good right now. If there's a pick you want to stick with right now, it is the Heat.
Right. I said Heat Lakers. I could have been wrong.
Or out of your
Lakers.
picks,
out of my picks, I said Heat Lakers. I think that the Heat are good. The Lakers have me a little worried as far as that pick, but I'd love to see the Mavs there. And I'll tell you something. My question to you was, if the Mavs could win the whole thing, let's just say for argument's sake here for a second, the Mavs could actually win the whole thing. Do you think Mark Cuban makes more appearances on late night TV and magazine covers than Dirk and Kidd combined?
Better question than that is, does HD TV or HD Net, Mark Cuban's TV station that he owns or whatever, does that take off and does that skyrocket?
No.
And does he actually
that has nothing to do with the Mavs.
And does he actually start paying for programming?
No, it has nothing to do with the Mavs. That's not his model, and I don't think it works because nobody knows it exists or cares that it exists.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the game.
He should make a 3D net at this point.
Let's talk a little bit about the game and why the Lakers lost or why the Mavericks won, and what the Lakers need to do to win to get.
Well, I think the question
to
is,
win a game in this series.
We just talked about what the game itself, right? I think the better question is, what do the Lakers need to do now to right the ship and to win? At least start with a game and win a game, and then you can worry about the rest of the series. But you cannot in a 7-game series think too far ahead. You've got to worry about winning the next game, especially at this point with your back against the wall.
Well, and they're going into hostile territory. Dallas stole 2 games from them in LA, which is one of the toughest places to play in the NBA.
So, I mean, is Kobe going to have 60 points for them to win?
I think they're going to win Game 3. I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say the Lakers win Game 3 because Kobe does not let them lose. And I think he has the ability, although last night I don't think he wanted to lose that game, obviously, but he just never really took over. I don't know if he knew he would need to take over or he just never felt it. I don't know what the issue was.
Is he hurting? Do you think he's hurting? Do you think that ankle injury is worse than he let on and that we think? Or is there some other injury that he's masking with the ankle injury?
It could be the ankle injury. I don't know why they just don't shoot it up with what they shot it with that first game he came back and just have him coming down the lane dunking on everybody.
Well, maybe it's just getting worse. Maybe it's deteriorating.
It could be. It could be. And
I'm just speculating.
And that happens sometimes, though.
I'm just speculating because Kobe is kind of, he, like you said, he hasn't taken the team on his back.
He tried to in Game 1. He had 38, and they still lost. So
maybe he needs, 58.
Maybe he was like, you know what, I'm going to try. He in the past, he's had 2 different ways to approach the game, I feel like. He's had the approach where it's all about Kobe, and I'm going to take over the game. And he's had the approach where I'm going to get my teammates involved and we'll win as a team. And both approaches have worked for him at times, and both approaches have failed him at times. So I think at this point, maybe last night he was thinking, well, I tried to take over Kobe in Game 1, and that didn't work. We still lost. I had 38. So let me try to get my teammates involved in Game 2. And he did. Gasol had 13. Bynum had 18. Artsis had 11.
But you need more production out of Lamar Odom, too.
Lamar Odom only had 6 points. They had no production from their bench. Their bench scored 12 points total. J.J. Barrera himself had 12. Jason Terry had another 9. That doesn't include the rest of the bench players on the Mavericks. So right there, they're outscored. Their bench is what's hurting them.
And could this just be a time of, or a case of a team just rolling at the right time when another team is sputtering a little bit?
I think that's what the playoffs are all about. I think it's in NFL and NBA, the playoffs, when a team gets hot. Hockey, There's the same way when a goalie or a player gets hot. When a team or a player gets hot and they're rolling, that they use that momentum and it kind of just catapults them usually to the championship.
All right, well, we have to take a break on Sports Daily. A beautiful Cinco de Mayo here in New York City. We'll be back. Darrell, Reid, I'm Michael Artsis. This is Sports.com and Ustream.tv and Sports Daily.
Welcome to Sports. My name is Greg Dorman, and this is Rally Notes.
Racing fans, don't forget that on Thursdays at 7 p.m., it's time for Rally Notes. Greg Dorman, rally racing co-driver from Klein Racing, hosts guests and takes your calls about the entire automotive industry, rally racing, and auto racing in general. Rally racing is a great sport. They have Subarus and all sorts of off-road, all-wheel drive vehicles that run through the mud and the backlogging roads. But he's not only talking rally, he'll talk all sorts of racing and automobiles as well. We'll test cars, we'll drive cars, and we'll have a lot of fun. Rally Notes, 7 p.m. on Thursday. Don't miss it.
Live on Sports.com. I'm Peter Schwartz, and we're joined by one of the current.
If you want everything sports, you got to tune in to Schwartz on Sports. Tuesday nights at 8 p.m., Peter Schwartz, the esteemed broadcaster, takes on everything sports. He's got everything from high-end pro sports like the NFL, NBA, and Major League Baseball to alternative sports like extreme games, lacrosse, tennis, golf, and everything in between.
Joined by Minnesota Vikings Hall of Famer John Randall. Last year, you were inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that is the biggest honor that a player can get bestowed on him. What was that feeling like when you were enshrined in that candidate?
It was unbelievable.
You got to check out Schwartz on Sports because there's nothing you know that he doesn't. He knows everything sports. So check it out, 8 p.m. on Sports.com, Tuesdays.
Welcome back. Sports Daily, Michael Artsis, Darrell, Reid. Call us, 347-480-1724. We want to hear from you as we're talking about, of course, the playoffs, NBA, NHL, little baseball.
Baseball.
Couple other topics. It's Cinco de Mayo. Beautiful day in New York. We got the president in town.
In addition to that, we want to know your favorite chase scene from a movie. It's got to include cars. It's got to include speed. And, well, that could be one right there, the movie Speed. I mean, some people
the
might
original,
like that.
the
The
first
original
one?
movie Speed with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock.
Maybe.
Just maybe.
I like the chase scene in Bad Boys with the Porsche.
That's a great chase scene.
It's
a very good one at the airport.
Yeah, at the airport. They're on the hangars, so they got a lot of.
It's a 3.4 RS Porsche versus a.
Hey, trust me out there. If you're listening, do
Check
your
it out.
homework. Do
Check it
your
out.
homework. Make sure Mike is really saying this is the official Porsche that was in it.
It is.
Because he throws these numbers out and these models of these cars, and when I research him,
I'll pull it
maybe
up.
we'll have Artie research you.
Okay.
Artie's not doing anything
Bad.
right now except texting or BBMing anyway, right?
That's probably
We got to
true.
give him something to do.
All right, Artie. So search for Bad
We
Boys
need the
Porsche.
The Porsche that was in Bad Boys, Artie.
Model.
We need what model that was. Mike says it's a 3.4.
It's a 3.4. Yep.
Don't look. Don't cheat.
No.
No, don't cheat.
No, I was
Don't
wrong.
cheat. Look.
Wait, hold on.
Oh,
I was wrong.
exactly. He's already
But that's what I
admitting
said. Hold on.
he was wrong.
It looks like it was a 3.6.
Exactly.
It
That's
looks
why
like
I
it's a
say
3.6.
always check.
Okay, so
when Mike throws those numbers out there.
1994, 3.6.
Hey, Jill, this is for you too. I know Jill's always watching. Jill.
Yeah, is it a 3.4 or 3.6? You want to tell us, Artie?
It's a 3.6.
It's a 3.6.
Exactly.
All right, so it's off.
And Mike would have had us if I wouldn't stepped in.
Okay, but the AC Cobra is an AC Cobra, and that's what I was going to say next.
Who's talking about an AC Cobra?
That's the
We're
car
talking
that
about
they
the
race.
Porsche from Bad Boys. That's all we're
That's
talking
the car
about.
that they race.
Mike said it was a 3.4, and obviously he was wrong because he just likes to Throw those numbers out on those cards.
Look, I
It
don't,
sounds good, though. I wish I could just say, I wish I knew the numbers well enough to know there's a 3.4 and a 3.6.
You know what? So, I can't be right all the time, and my memory's not as good as yours, so, that's it. But anyway.
And the Hawks can't win all the time. And last night, they lost to the Bulls. And, the Bulls tied up that series, so now it's 1-1. Derrick Rose was coming off that ankle injury, and he kind of looked like Kobe coming off that ankle injury when Kobe came out and had a great game, because Derrick Rose came out and had a usual Derrick Rose game and a great game, and really, catapulted Chicago along with Luol Deng and Joakim Noah, who pitched in with the 19 and 14 boards, really helped them to beat the Hawks last night.
Now you said Jamal Crawford and Joe Johnson had to be shut down, couldn't get into their rhythm. Don't let them get into their rhythm. And they're not. They don't get into their rhythm.
Last night, the Bulls did a great job on defense, not allowing Joe Johnson to get into an early rhythm, and that's the key. Joe Johnson, Jamal Crawford, when they get into an early rhythm in the game, they're almost unstoppable, because then they're hitting all types of shots and they're on fire throughout the rest of the game.
What about Derrick Rose? His ankle was injured, but he seemed to be fine.
He did a great job. Obviously, you got to take your hats off to the training staff out there in Chicago. They did a great job getting Derrick Rose ready for the game. And maybe he called Kobe, like I suggested, and asked Kobe what he did for his ankle.
Now, how important is this training staff? Because I think most people think that every training staff is pretty much the same. They all have the same tricks. They all have the same stuff in their bags. And that if you get hurt playing for the Atlanta Hawks or if you get hurt playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, you get pretty much the same treatment.
Not at all. Not at all. It's a big difference, because every training staff has a head trainer, and that head trainer has his own philosophy on how to treat things. Some trainers are still old school, ice and stem, where other trainers are more new age and using the new technologies and the advancements in medicine and technology and using those things to treat players. So it depends. I think most are starting to lean towards the new technology, but you still have trainers that are very old school and traditional.
What about even something as simple as a game ready? A game ready as a device?
That goes across the board. I think.
No. But I mean, how much does it of a difference does that make? Instead of putting a regular ice pack on your knee, you put basically an apparatus around your knee and hook it up to a box called a game ready, and every 15 minutes it runs cold water through there to simulate ice, but it's a lot more consistent. How important is just something like that, a technological advance like that?
I think it's starting to become the standard at this point. So maybe 5-10 years ago, it was something that only the athletes had access to, or only athletes had access to that top brand, which is Game Ready, which has the best devices for icing down different body parts. But at this point, I think that's becoming standard. Anytime anybody has surgery and you have swelling and it's a body part where they can wrap something and compress that body part, I think Game Ready is just the standard at this point.
But how much of a difference does it make? Having something, it's so simple, just icing. It's a technology.
It makes a great difference. Just like if you get a bump or a bruise, if you're a normal person, if you ice, it'll help you recover from whatever injury you have. It goes 10 times that, because the athlete needs to heal faster, and it's probably going to put more punishment on that area that's injured.
What about the way that the defense played? The Hawks only shot like 34%.
Well, and that's what I said about Chicago. I said Chicago plays very good defense, and that's why I thought they would come out of the East and represent the Eastern Conference this year, because they had Derrick Rose, because they had Carlos Boozer and Joakim Noah and Luol Deng, who's a great defender. I thought they would play good defense, and they also have the offense to compete with anybody, with a Miami, with a Boston, who also plays very good defense. But I don't know if the Boston is even going to make it out of this round and make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But it'll be interesting to see if, number one, bless you.
Thank you.
Number one, to see if the Bulls can make it out of this series with the Hawks, and number two, if they can play with a Miami or a Boston.
Well, what about the Bulls? We were really worried about the Bulls the other day. We were really impressed by Joe Johnson, and now it seems like the Bulls have regrouped and figured out a way to shut
It's
Joe
funny,
and
Mike,
Jamal
because
down.
Mike is like, he reminds me of Don King. He goes with whatever's hot. So if the Hawks are hot,
what are you
the
talking
Hawks were
about?
hot. The Hawks were hot.
I have been
so
with
then
the
he
Heat.
Jumped on the Hawks bandwagon.
Wait a second.
Wait a second. The Mavericks are hot, and now he's throwing the Lakers on the back of the bus.
No. Hold up a second. The Lakers are down 2-0. Kobe is clearly playing like a wounded bird, okay? And the reality is, when you look at the situation, the Lakers probably won't come back from this, and maybe it's the end of the Lakers.
It'll be
maybe
tough.
It's the
They can, though. It's the Lakers. It's Phil Jackson.
Hey, you gonna let me finish what I'm saying, or you want to?
Sometimes.
Okay. So maybe the Lakers are at the end of their run. Maybe Phil even sensed that, and that is why he pulled the antics that he did, saying this is definitely his last season and all that stuff we thought was meant to inspire the team. Maybe he saw something we didn't see, and this could be the end of the Lakers' run. Maybe it's not, but at 0-2, that's a big hole. So we have to talk reality here. And I said at the beginning of the show, I thought the Lakers were going to go to the finals. I've picked the Heat since the beginning when people said the Heat couldn't get it together, when they were falling apart, all that stuff, and I've stuck by that. Now, all I said the other day was that I was very impressed by Joe Johnson, and that he was better than I thought he was, and that I think he's better than a lot of people thought he was, and that I thought he was underrated.
And
now you're saying I'm like Don King?
No.
You're saying I'm like a troll with spiked hair? That's
crazy. And you
crazy.
also said, well, you got some spiked hair, but you
Only in America.
You also said you were not a believer in the Bulls after that game.
But I wasn't a believer in the Bulls all season. When you kept saying the Bulls, we're gonna run the table, and there was either gonna be the Bulls and the Celtics in the finals in the East, I did not buy into the Bulls. I have not bought into the Bulls all season.
It's okay. It's okay.
I've said they're too young. Pull the tapes.
It's all right.
Pull the tapes.
You know,
now, I said yesterday, I thought that the Bulls.
We always talk about pulling the tapes, and Artie never has the tapes ready to go.
Because he's busy texting.
Come on, Artie.
He's
Get the tapes
emailing
ready
his
to
girlfriend,
go.
Mark Cuban.
No. Yeah.
Listen, the thing is that.
So how do you feel about Dallas now? Let me figure out where you're at now.
Okay. Here's the thing.
What's up with Dallas?
What's up with Dallas?
How do you feel about them right now?
I've always liked Dallas. I like them. I'm rooting for them.
Listen carefully.
Listen
people.
carefully. I will be
carefully.
surprised if Dallas runs to the finals.
Okay, but you just said hold on.
A few minutes ago. No. Can they beat? Are they going to beat the Lakers?
Okay. We just had it. And we could take you don't even need to take the tape back for this one. We just said.
I said if they run the table on the Lakers, they have a good shot of going to the finals. That's what I said.
And now you're saying you can't see them going to the finals.
I will be surprised. That's all.
You just said you'd be surprised if the Lakers. But if the Lakers can win.
One is my feeling, and the other is common sense. Okay, here's the common sense.
What's your feeling? Let me hear the feeling first.
The feeling is what I said. I'll be surprised. That's what I've said all season long. I like them as
a surprised,
but I will be surprised. I'm not going to change
if they make it to the finals.
Right. Now,
but if they beat the Lakers, then they're going to go to the finals.
Common sense says if they run over the Lakers in 4 or 5 games, they will have the.
They're up 2-0 right now, Mike. I don't know if you realize that.
I realize that. That's
and
what
they're going home to play the next 2 games. So it's very possible that they could win these next 2 games.
They will,
or at least 2 out of the next 3.
I think they will. I think the Lakers are done.
Okay, so then you see Dallas going to the finals.
But if it goes 6 or 7.
Then Dallas is not going to the finals.
I'm not saying they're not. It's a much harder shot. But I still am saying that I think
are the Lakers going to the finals?
I will still be surprised. No, not at this point.
That's all that matters.
The Lakers are not going to the finals.
That's all that matters.
You're trying to just trip me up and twist my words.
Okay, so back to the Bulls.
Meanwhile, who's the one who thought the Celtics? Who's the one that thought the Celtics and the Bulls would just cruise through the East and make it to the playoffs?
I never said cruise.
That
was you. You were saying cruise. You're using this
Who?
word cruise.
Who?
You're saying
Who
that Dallas cruises past the Lakers. That's you.
I didn't say that with Dallas.
You just said if they cruise past and win in 4 or 5 games.
Gosh.
So anyway, the
Hold
Bulls.
on, can we get back to Joe Johnson for a second?
All right, let's talk about Joe Johnson.
So, did the Bulls figure out a way to stop Joe Johnson, or is he just not as good as we felt he was after an amazing Game 1?
As Mike felt he was after an amazing Game 1. I know Joe Johnson is a very good player in this league. He's a 3-time All-Star at this point. Mm-hmm. So he's proven himself. He's proven himself as a top scorer in this league, as one of the best shooters in this league. The thing about Joe Johnson is this. If you can keep him from getting started early and getting in a rhythm, then he has trouble for the rest of the game, and he's not going to score as many points because he's not one of the most aggressive players on offense. But once he gets in a rhythm, that's when his aggression comes. So it kind of goes hand in hand. And the same thing with Jamal Crawford. You know he's going to come off the bench with a lot of energy, and if you can slow him down the first couple times he comes off the bench, they're gonna play with less energy as a team.
So are the Bulls still in trouble, or did this win even the playing field and gets them back where they need to be, or are they not as good as we thought that, or as you thought that they were? I use the term we, so we both go down together, but it's okay. You thought they weren't that good. I thought or you thought they were good. I thought they weren't that good. Are the Bulls not as good as you thought they were, or is this going to just be a good playoff matchup?
I think it's just a good playoff matchup. And I think the Bulls will end up winning it because the Bulls have a deeper bench, and I think the Bulls have a better starting lineup. But it's two things that scare me about, two stats that scare me about last night's game and that I can't figure out. Number one, for me, the Bulls, if they want to win, if they want to compete with the top teams, if they're going to compete with Boston and Miami, they need more from Carlos Boozer. He only had 8 points again last night. And this guy, okay, he had 11 rebounds. 8 points is not enough from who you deem to be your second leading scorer. And so him scoring 8 points, that's not enough. And then you look at the Atlanta side, and Al Horford only had 6 points. So I'm trying to figure out, like, are these guys guarding each other that well? They're both power forwards. Are they playing each other that well that they're keeping each other from scoring? Or what's really happening there? Or is Joakim Noah doing such a good job of defending Al Horford, where Al Horford only scores 6 points? And that hurt Atlanta also.
Now, you really like Boozer all year, though. Why?
I never said I like Boozer. Where did that come?
What are you talking about?
I mean,
You said
I
they've
like
got
the
Derrick
Bulls.
Rose and Boozer.
I like the combination. I like the team.
Okay.
I like the players on that team, Luol Deng. I like Korver off the bench.
How much of a disappointment is it to Chicago if they don't get out of this round?
It's not a disappointment. I think this season was a coming out season. They still finished first in the East.
So to
they had the
finish
best
first
record.
and to lose in the second round is not a disappointment?
They had the best record in the NBA. No, because
That's
they're a
what I'm
young
saying.
team. They're a young team, though. It's a disappointment anytime you believe you have a good team and you don't make it to the finals. But as a young team, Derrick Rose's second time in the playoffs, I don't think it's that big a deal. He has a lot of years ahead of him.
Is it a lot harder to get to the AFC or NFC championship in football and lose and go, all right, there's always next year, than it is in the NBA to be like, you know what, there's always next year, we got a good group of guys, we'll be fine, because of the fact that there's so much movement in the offseason in football?
Well, I think it just depends what you look at. If you look at guys' contracts, if you look at that team's contracts, are these guys going to be back next year, or what percentage of the core players or the core players that make up that team or that defense or that offense, are they going to be back next year? Like you look at a team like Indianapolis Colts, for them, it's almost like they're always going to be in it. The New England Patriots, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Ravens, they're always in it. They're always in the mix. They're always going to be in the mix playoff time. So I don't know if it's such a disappointment to those teams to make it to the AFC Championship. Of course it's a disappointment. Let me take that back. Of course it's a disappointment. But you at least mentally you say we're going to be right back in it because all these guys are going to be back next year. Peyton's going to be back. Ray Lewis is going to be back. Roethlisberger or Tom Brady. We're not going to lose our core guys.
But in basketball, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that if you're the Atlanta Hawks, if you lose now, or you're the Chicago Bulls and you lose now, hey, great season. We should be disappointed we didn't get further, but we can hang our heads high knowing we did good, and next year we can get them.
I think what's different about basketball is especially right now, how basketball is set up right now and how the players have really just taken over that league the last couple years as far as free agency goes, is if you do have a star free agent player like a LeBron James or like a Chris Paul or like a Dwight Howard this year, those guys are on the move now where before they were going to sign back with those teams most likely, those guys are moving and making power teams. Where in the NFL, you're not able to move and kind of on your own you designate where you're going.
I just feel like the
Carmelo Anthony said, I'm going to the Knicks and nobody else. You can't do that in football. Say, I'm going to this team and I refuse to go any other team.
But I think that the disappointment in football is a lot harder because there's so many more unknowns and so many injuries in football, and there is a lot of movement, and it's movement of guys who you think aren't the superstar but make a huge impact and difference on the team. A Derek Ward, an Ahmad Bradshaw for the Giants. Those kind of guys.
About
a
the
Reuben
Giants.
Drones.
Well, you're talking about the Giants, and you got to remember
No,
Strahan retired.
I'm not only talking about the Giants. I'm talking about any football team. I just think it's a lot harder to get back. Look, the Jets have done it now 2 years in a row. Rex Ryan's done it 3 years in a row as a coach. That is a very, very hard thing. I can only think of one other team that has made multiple trips to the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl and lost, and that's the Buffalo Bills. In 4 consecutive years, they went to the Super Bowl 4 times. Now, most teams, you get to the Super Bowl, or you get to the AFC Championship or NFC Championship, or you get to the Super Bowl on the NFC side, and you don't win, it's, wow, we did all that work, we didn't win, how are we going to put this back together for next year? And then you've got injuries, you've got all sorts of other things, where in basketball, you can look at the Bulls and say, well, the Bulls didn't do it this year, but they've got a good core of guys, and for the next 5-6 seasons, they'll be right in that race.
I agree with you. The only difference to me in basketball is a lot of those core guys are free agents, and they're on the move. They're not re-signing with their team. Carmelo didn't re-sign with the Nuggets. LeBron, after going to the NBA championship, didn't re-sign with the Cavs. Chris Paul probably isn't going to re-sign with the Hornets. Dwight Howard probably isn't going to re-sign with the Orlando Magic. So it changes the dynamics surrounding those teams. Those are star players, superstar players, and those are the core players. The core player
So
on
are
that
we
team.
seeing a change in the behavior in the NBA, and maybe it'll be more like the NFL, where if you don't win this year, it'll be a lot harder to say, we'll get them next year?
Well, it's 2 ways to look at it. Like if a Miami Heat makes it to the Eastern Conference Finals or to the NBA Finals and doesn't win, you look at that team and you say, that core is going to be together for a while, at least the next 6 years, because that's the contracts they sign. But I'm talking about the other teams where they only have maybe one player and he's in his last year of his contract. Where Peyton Manning last year or this year is going to be in the last year of his contract, or Tom Brady. You expect that player to go back to that team. Where in the NBA, it's not set up like that.
All right, well, this is Sports Daily on sports.com and ustream.tv. I'm Michael Artsis alongside Darrell Reid here from New York City. And I love the logo Artie put up right there on the screen. We really appreciate that.
Appreciate it, Artie.
That was good. That was a good look.
Yeah. Was that a BBM or a text message logo?
I'm not really sure. We'll have to ask him that when we're in the break. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and wrap this show up. We'll talk a little bit more about car chases. We want to hear about your favorite chase scene from a movie. I'll tell you mine.
Bad boys, what you gonna do?
What you gonna do when we come
come
for you? When they come.
Welcome to Sports. My name is Greg Dorman, and this is Rally Notes.
Racing fans, don't forget that on Thursdays at 7 p.m., it's time for Rally Notes. Greg Dorman, rally racing co-driver from Klein Racing, hosts guests and takes your calls about the entire automotive industry, rally racing, and auto racing in general. Rally racing is a great sport. They have Subarus and all sorts of off-road, all-wheel drive vehicles that run through the mud and the backlogging roads. But he's not only talking rally, he'll talk all sorts of racing and automobiles as well. We'll test cars, we'll drive cars, and we'll have a lot of fun. Rally Notes, 7 p.m. on Thursday. Don't miss it.
Live on sports.com. I'm Peter Schwartz, and we're joined by one of the current.
If you want everything sports, you got to tune in to Schwartz on Sports. Tuesday nights at 8 p.m., Peter Schwartz, the esteemed broadcaster, takes on everything sports. He's got everything from high-end pro sports like the NFL, NBA, and Major League Baseball to alternative sports like extreme games, lacrosse, tennis, golf,
and everything in between.
Joined by Minnesota Vikings Hall of Famer John Randall. Last year, you were inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that is the biggest honor that a player can get bestowed on him. What was that feeling like when you were enshrined in that candidate?
It was unbelievable.
You got to check out Schwartz on Sports because there's nothing you know that he doesn't. He knows everything sports. So check it out, 8 p.m. on Sports.com, Tuesdays.
I'm Justin Tucker, the New York Giants, and you're watching Sports.com.
If you want everything sports, you got to go to Sports.com. That's spelled SPORTCE.com. We're going to take you behind the scenes in the world of sports and a lot more. It's sport, content, and entertainment. We got a lot of great stuff. Technology segments.
Now it's got the front and back facing cameras, so you can do video chats like this one via Skype on the 3G network, and you can do FaceTime, only available on the Wi-Fi. It's got a lot of other great features. You can edit on it with iMovie. You can make songs and voiceovers.
Behind the scenes.
We back, sports.com, at this secret location behind the scenes. Jim Jones.
We'll take you into the lives of athletes, follow them off the field, but it's also music.
Be right here, but it's perfect day.
And other genres as well. Check us out, sports.com, and we've got live shows 5 days a week. A lot of live shows with live guests in our New York City studios. We've got Rally Notes at 7 p.m. on Thursday nights, The Warning Track, 6 p.m. on Friday nights, Schwartz on Sports with esteemed broadcaster Peter Schwartz, 8 p.m. on Tuesday nights, and on Wednesdays, it's The Music Movement with Darrell Reid. Check us out, sports.com.
Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the Warning Track. I'm Matt Mankiewicz.
If you could change one thing about the game today, what would it be?
Baseball fans, don't forget to check out The Warning Track Friday nights at 6 p.m. with Brett Quintine and Matt Mankiewicz. They'll take you through the MLB season, talk everything baseball, have great guests, and field your calls. It's 6 p.m. on Friday nights. Don't miss it. The Warning Track. It's out of here.
Welcome back to Sports Daily on Sports.com and Ustream.tv. I'm Michael Artsis alongside Darrell Reid. We're here every Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, taking your calls, hosting interviews, and talking sports, and a whole lot more with you. All right, Artie, we've got some video we've got to look at.
Hold on. We gotta look at this play from last night in the Lakers game.
That's what I was just saying.
With Ron Artsis, and at the end of the game, Ron Artsis possibly will be suspended by the NBA today because of this play, this vicious, I don't want to say, it wasn't real vicious, but it was just a dirty play, you know, typical Ron Artsis at the end of the game against the Mavericks, against a guy who was really giving them trouble last night, J.J. Barrera. Show the clip, Artie.
He must be BlackBerry messaging, text messaging.
I guess the clip's not ready.
Maybe he's talking on the phone. Mm-hmm. He's TriCasting back there with the TriCaster, or he's trying to TriCast.
You know what? It's okay. When Artie's ready, he'll let us know.
We'll sit here till he is.
You know,
here we go.
So here's the end of the game, and Darrell was already fouled by Lamar Odom, and then
colliding with Barrera and
Ron Artest just comes in and just, let's see if they got another angle, a little replay or something, and just smacks him across the face.
Let's take it back and watch it again.
There should be a slow-mo or a replay or something, so you can see it better. So right there, he's fouled. And then Artest is just like, nah, clothesline.
You can't do that. I mean,
when it went by fast, it looked like Odom, you know, or Artest made the foul and just kind of flailed along him. But when you see it again, Artest comes in there and makes a move. I don't know. I think he's got to get fined for that, but a suspension, Really?
A suspension is a bit much, especially when they're down 2-0 right now.
Well, you can't factor that in. A suspension is a suspension, unless the NBA wants the Lakers to win.
I don't think that's a suspendable because it wasn't vicious. You know, it was just kind of like,
there was
here,
no
take this.
and there was no follow-up.
Take this little.
There was no follow-up. He didn't punch him.
It was more of a frustration foul.
Yeah.
To me, you know what I mean? He's just
mean,
frustrated with this Barrera guy. He's been running them all around the court. Show it one more time
because I want to look at if and I didn't see this last night, but I want to look and see if he was moving when Odom hits him. See, he's in the process of moving.
Look.
Yeah.
Did you see the ref put his hand up that the foul was already called?
Yeah,
and then Artsis.
It actually, when you watch it again after seeing the slow-mo, it looks worse than it might be.
I mean, his face is just a little red. There's no blood.
Yeah, I think you just fine him.
But Artsis knows he's dead wrong. He wanted to get kicked out that game. Look how he's walking. He's like, yeah, all right, I'm out. He didn't argue with the ref.
Artsis was going that way at least. I don't know. Oh, and he hit Odom right where it hurts, man. Did you see that? Watch where Odom grabs. You can't see it in this replay. Roll it back again, Artie. Let's take one more look at this. You see where Odom just grabbed? Here we go.
Well, who cares about Odom? Odom's fine.
I'm just showing you.
I don't care about that. I don't care about that.
Should give him money for that.
At all.
Fine him for that. Here it is.
Now
Watch where.
You see the ref. Calls a foul right there.
Yep.
Boom.
Yeah, and then Odom gets kneed.
And the other thing is, Artsis did not go for the ball at all. He didn't go for the ball.
I mean, clearly he didn't want to be in the game anymore. I don't know. I say you fine the guy, no suspension, but the NBA will probably suspend him, especially because of Artsis' history.
Artsis has a history, and
that's the problem.
And then we're like, hold on, is Artsis getting back out of control?
So you think it should just be a fine as well?
I think it should just be a fine. It wasn't that vicious, although he didn't go for the ball. And I don't know how the NBA deals with it, and they have their own way. Artsis hasn't been in trouble in some years, but you know a guy like that, he's a loose cannon.
Well, you also have to look at it, I guess, from the league's perspective. This could have started a fight.
It definitely could have. If Barrera would have reacted in any way, or one of his teammates came to his side, but you know the Mavericks are kind of soft.
It's not like hockey. There's no fighting in basketball.
You know the Mavericks are kind of soft, so that didn't happen.
Right. That's why they're losing 2 games to none.
No, I think the tough guys were on the bench at that time. Tyson Chandler, Hayward, my man Brandon Hayward, he wouldn't be happy. I mean, that's not my man. I don't know him personally, but I don't think he would be going.
Speaking of hockey, the Lightning, completely surprised by this. The Lightning finish off the Washington Capitals and Ovechkin in stunning fashion with a sweep. I did not see this coming.
And you know what this tells? You know what this tells you out there to the viewers and.
What does this
tell you? For me and Mike personally, I mean, it'd be great if Artie just get off you, but. He likes your suit. He likes your jacket so much. I mean, or maybe he was sending a BBM or text.
He's sending a BBM.
So he wasn't paying us any attention.
Pictures of what?
You know what's interesting to me, or what the people should get from this Lightning Cap series? That me and Mike are not good gamblers, all right? Me and Mike both thought the Caps would win this series, and anytime me and Mike agree on somebody winning, they're probably going to lose.
Yeah, I think that they should just go with you because I'm not that good at predicting anything. But I'm
we
shocked.
Both, you know what the last prediction we had? That Boston would win Game 2. And look how that happened.
Yeah,
look how that worked out.
That worked out well, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
And here you've got, so the Lightning sweep the Caps, and the Bruins are about to sweep the Flyers possibly. They're up 3-0. I don't know, man. I knew the Bruins
all
would
over
win.
the place because Detroit, hockey town, where they throw the octopus on the ice, they're about to get swept by who I said. I think I picked San Jose in that series.
You did pick San Jose.
Even though I like Detroit and hockey town, you took Detroit. I took San Jose.
I took the Bruins, but I didn't think that they'd win in sweeping fashion.
I don't even know if that's going to be a sweep. I know they won the game last night 3-0. That's all I know.
It's 3-0. One more.
I know they won the game 3-0. I'm not sure if they're up in the series.
It is 3-0.
So we're going to have to check the facts on that.
Oh, yeah. Let's check it out right here.
So enough about hockey.
That's it, huh? Hockey's
we'll get to your facts.
Boston leads series 3-0.
All right. I'm not arguing.
So you said, I don't know. Check your facts.
So the only series that actually has any wins on both sides is the Predators series, huh?
Yeah, Predators-Canucks.
Predators-Canucks.
Vancouver. And Vancouver leads the series 2-1.
Let's go Vancouver.
All right, let's talk about car chase scenes, D.
Well, hold on.
Wait. Oh, I'm sorry.
Come on, we're in New York.
Yeah.
We'd be very remiss if we didn't talk about the great number 2,
Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter. Is he hurt? What's going on with him? How long is he going to be out of the lineup?
Well,
Yankee fans are in a panic right now. They're in a panic because Jeter's not in the lineup for today's game.
First of all, I don't think they should be in a panic. The Yankees have a great, solid team with and without Jeter at this point. Jeter's on the tail end of his career, okay?
Hold on.
Yeah.
And without A-Rod? A-Rod's also not playing today. Did you know that?
I understand, but,
It's a lot. It's a lot. Yankee fans are in a panic right now. I feel it.
I'm
feel it.
trying to calm them. This
Up
is
in
what
the
I'm
BX,
saying.
uptown.
And I think that, I don't know, what the extent of Jeter's injury is or how long he'll be out. I imagine that this is a hip injury that will nag him the entire season. And he's getting older. He's going to have these things. He's going to miss games. But that's, I think, okay as long as he's ready to go and in shape for the playoffs. I don't think that they need Jeter in their lineup every day at this point to win. I think they have a good core around them and around him that can win without Jeter and kind of maintain while he's out. It's not the days where they need a Jeter. I think the good thing about Jeter is that he's a team leader and he's a guy who will be around as they're playing, and I think they need that. But I don't think they need him in the lineup every day.
So do you think his slow start this season is probably due to this hip injury and he's just trying to play through it?
Yeah, I mean,
and
I think
so much now he's like, listen, I need to give this thing a rest. Or maybe he tweaked it last night in the game when he left the game against Detroit.
I think you got a lot of factors. He's slowing down, He's not a 26-year-old kid anymore. And I think that what we're seeing in baseball, a trend in the last few years, is that these guys are slowing down the way they used to slow down in their 30s, their mid-30s, as opposed to playing into their 40s and still coming with heat.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Did he deserve the contract that he just got from the Yankees? That's the better question.
It's
if you say he's slowing down, then he probably didn't deserve all that money that he was fighting for.
It's a hard thing because he's been such a, Derek Jeter has been the perfect role model. So on some level, you have to pay him as a diplomat and a dignitary, and you have to pay him for the fans. But on the other hand, is he worth what they paid him? No, I don't think anybody would agree that he was worth what they paid him, even at the time.
What about A-Rod?
It depends how A-Rod produces. A-Rod hasn't declined
A-Rod's
as much.
in a slump right now.
Yeah, but he hasn't declined
started
as
this
much. I
season
mean,
in
Derek
slump.
had a bad season
He
last season.
He hasn't been
he's
playing
been
great
slow.
as a Yankee.
I think
his
you
numbers
got to
are
look at
okay.
you got to look at both of them and think that they're both overpaid at this point. But where Jeter, I think, is going to just kind of coast downhill. A-Rod could kind of sneak back up before he goes back down. The thing with Jeter is how much do you put a price tag on? What he has brought to the team, what he does in the community for the team,
what he's brought to New York,
and you got to pay for that. You got to be loyal to the guy, and he's, like I said, he's a diplomat. So you have to decide.
He's the captain.
And he's the captain, and I think it would have been an ugly divorce. Could you imagine, the Yankees getting rid of Mickey Mantle in the middle of, when as soon as he started to decline? I don't think he declined enough, and I think unfortunately for the Yankees, they have to pay him for that. I certainly didn't think he was worth the money that they paid him, but
So day to day right now, and I suppose he'll only be out of the lineup for maybe 2 games.
Look,
Derek Jeter's a fighter. He doesn't want to be out that lineup.
And
I don't even think he knew he was going to be out the lineup.
This isn't the end for Derek Jeter. I'm not saying he's done, but I expect him to.
You're saying this isn't the end?
This isn't the end.
Okay.
I don't expect him to be done, but we're watching a guy in the tail end of his career. He's got
he's tailing off.
Probably 3 seasons left. He'll be again. You're comparing him to the Derek Jeter of.
You know what?
1997, 98, 99.
I think maybe his skills as a batter have fallen off, where his skills as a fielder, as a shortstop, as a Yankee shortstop, haven't fallen off as much.
Well, I would agree with that. A lot of people will tell you that he's a very overrated defensive shortstop. I don't agree with that. I think Derek Jeter is one of the best shortstops I've ever seen play. There are a lot of people who will tell you that Derek Jeter is very overrated defensively and that he's gotten worse in the last few years defensively. I think you're right. He's declined at the plate, but I still think when I watch him play, the things he does at shortstop are amazing.
Exactly.
And I still think you've got a great defensive player. And if you think back to the pre-steroid era, and I'm not accusing Derek Jeter of using steroids, just the pre-steroid era in general, most shortstops were defensive players not producing much offense. and even some of the greats. So you look at them, and they might have been single, double hitters, clutch hitters, but they weren't home run hitters. And I think that's what we got away from in the steroid era, and we forgot that these guys were mostly
maybe it's possible
players.
that him and A-Rod will switch. And he'll go to third. And
There's no way. Jeter is never leaving shortstop.
And A-Rod will go to shortstop.
Not until they drag him off the field. I would bet that Jeter would retire
before he would make
that change. He might go to DH next season, possibly, if Posada doesn't return. And I can see that happening because Posada's not doing that great.
Shortstop.
A-Rod would probably move to shortstop, and maybe the Yankees pick up David Wright from the Mets. The Mets are supposedly looking to deal him.
Speculation. You heard it first. Here on Sports Daily, sports.com, Mike says...
Why are you looking at me like that?
He's going to the Yankees.
No, I didn't say that. I said it might be a good move if they picked up David Wright, if Jeter was going to move to
David Wright to the Yankees.
All the pieces.
You hear it first.
Oh,
right here on sports.com, Sports Daily, Ustream.tv. What's his name? Derek Wright, right?
David Wright.
David Wright.
You only know the Yankees?
Listen, I don't know.
Look,
you know what? I'm sorry, Mike. I used to like the Mets back in the 80s. I can't lie. My grandparents would turn on the Mets game every Saturday, and I would have to sit through, and I would watch Hojo and the guys play.
Hojo, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I know a little bit about the Mets.
Straw.
But, I'm a Gemini. I jump around, man.
All I'm saying is that, I don't really think it's really that much of a possibility, and I'll tell you why. I don't think the Yankees would do it, and the timing would have to be exactly perfect, and they have to treat Jeter and A-Rod both with kid gloves.
I know who David Wright is. I actually know who.
You know who Derek Wright is?
I know who David Wright is. He's a slugger.
He is, and he's supposedly, the rumor on the street is that he's looking to get out of the Mets because he's unhappy.
Is he looking to get out of New York, though?
No, he's looking to get out of the Mets because he wants to go somewhere where he can win, and he's looking to get
out of New York. Can't the Mets win? What's up with your Mets?
He's frustrated with the organization as a whole. And this is only a rumor. This is the rumor that's going around, and that's what I've heard.
And we're going to continue spreading the rumor.
No, I'm just giving you a scenario where it would work.
Let me get this right. David Wright to the Yankees in 2012.
What happened to 2011?
This is the season they're playing. It would happen in 2012.
All right, and D, look, everything would have to line up. Let's talk about chase scenes real quick.
Let's talk about these chase scenes. Well, let me tell you about this chase scene that happened this week. Hines Ward was arrested in North Hollywood, and I don't know if it was really a chase scene so much, but he was arrested at gunpoint because allegedly the female he was with had reported her car stolen, and then she found the car, and then she forgot to report. She reported it stolen or forgot to unreport it as stolen when she found it. Sounds like he's messing with the wrong girl out there.
Apparently he is.
Not the brightest bulb.
Clearly.
I mean, I'd be highly upset. I don't know how you would feel in that situation. I'm out there in Hollywood. I'm on Dancing with the Stars. And I get arrested at gunpoint is serious. Not to just get arrested, but at gunpoint.
Yeah, I would be fuming. Especially because Hines Ward has a squeaky clean image and it doesn't make him look good. But it's just obviously he's hanging with the wrong person, and I'd be fuming. But let's talk about real chase scenes, not the OJ chase scene.
Well, we're not talking. That's not a real chase scene. It's from a movie. But we can talk about it.
Okay. So, what is your favorite chase scene from a movie?
I told you, Bad Boys, man. They're in the Porsche. I'm good with that. I'll go with that one.
And I'm going to go from, and it's not, these aren't exotic cars as much as I'd like them to be. I certainly like the chase scene in the movie The Rock with the 355 Spider, the yellow one that Nicolas Cage drives.
Check the numbers. Check the numbers. We got Artie in the back. Artie, 355 Spider. What movie was that?
That was The Rock with Nicolas Cage.
The Rock with Nicolas Cage. Check that, Artie. If that was a 355 Spider in that movie, I'm guessing it may have not been.
I've driven the car. It's a 355 Spider.
All right. 1 out of 2 for the day is not bad.
I've done my own chase scene with that car without cameras. 355 Spider. I like that one. I like the one in Gone in 60 Seconds with Eleanor, which is
that one's decent. Gone in 60 Seconds.
Very decent. Another Nick Cage movie. But I think my favorite of all time would be the rental car chase scene in the movie Days of Thunder.
Was that really a rental car, though? You can't rent that car. I can't rent that car.
No, it was a rental car. It was like 2 Ford Tauruses.
Well, what's the scene you were? Oh, we never got to that.
We never pulled it up on YouTube. We were watching during the breaks.
During the break, Mike's trying to show me all these cars, chase scenes, and all of this, and I'm like, okay.
But that
a
might be my
Lamborghini
favorite
and a
one.
Hummer is not a good chase
That was
scene
the
to
one in
me.
The Rock. It was
What?
a Ferrari and a Hummer. It's a
Oh,
good
Ferrari,
scene, and the
but-
Ferrari gets destroyed by a cable car at the end.
Well, you spoiled it for all
I
the
know.
viewers out there that
I
haven't
know.
seen The Rock.
That's it.
And you're saying that was a 355 Spider.
Let's just show them that clip so we can show you the 355 Spider, which
Who's-
Artie confirmed.
Artie confirmed it's a 355 Spider?
He did confirm it.
What's up with Artie, man?
What do you mean? It's what it is.
He
Let's
didn't
fast forward a
he
little.
didn't
We
let
don't
me
need to see
know.
them in the kitchen. All right, we're good here. He gets into so this is Sean Connery jumps into the Hummer, and Nicolas Cage is now going to chase him. And Sean Connery is a Alcatraz escapee. Nick Cage runs out here, and he's like an FBI agent or some sort of law enforcement agent. Here you go. That's the 355 Spider. It's got a challenge. I think it's got a challenge grill. Nope, no challenge grill. The challenge grill was a mesh grill in the back. It would have been a black mesh grill.
Well, it doesn't matter.
to
They
let
don't
the
have a
engine
challenge
breathe a
grill.
little.
Come on, Mike.
Look at this chase
But
scene,
either
though. It's
way,
good.
to me, there's no way
Because
that
it's
a
exciting.
Hummer can keep up with a Ferrari.
But it's the streets of San Francisco, so it's exciting.
All right, so I don't think I've actually seen this movie.
70 miles per hour.
First of all, Hummer, I would have, you guys have this believable. A Hummer's not getting up to 70 in San Francisco.
No, it's not enough
Which
room.
is what they just claimed.
Exactly.
We're going to see the Ferrari in a second. Now, the Ferrari's nowhere, right? And this is just the police chasing the Hummer. There's a typical San Francisco, a hippie painted VW Beetle with a peace sign on the side.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. I like San Francisco.
Here you go. Here comes the Ferrari's
some good
coming in a
times in
second.
San
Here's Nick
Francisco.
Cage in the Ferrari. Now the top is up, which is disappointing.
We got water bottles going everywhere. I can't go with this season.
Wait, you haven't seen the whole thing yet.
I've seen enough.
But this isn't
There's
my
no way-
favorite.
There's no
There you
way
go.
a Hummer can keep up with a Ferrari. I've seen enough. Or is the Ferrari chasing the Hummer?
Ferrari's chasing the Hummer.
Okay. How do you explain that to me? I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm saying it all backwards. And the Hummer doesn't need to keep up with the Ferrari. The Ferrari is chasing the Hummer. A lot of explosions. A lot of fireworks. Mike, we should do a chase scene like this.
We should.
You know what? I think if the top was down, this would seem would be a
hotter.
lot better.
Yeah. Oh, you're not doing that with a Ferrari.
It didn't even dent it.
It didn't. You're right, but it would have.
It was not as.
It definitely would have. That front end would have been destroyed right there.
Are we going to watch the whole scene?
Yeah, let's watch the whole scene. You haven't seen it.
Our viewers have.
That's the
nothing better
best
to
part
do.
right there. The car goes sideways. Probably not the best part. Here you go. Maybe in memory it's better than that.
Yeah, we'll get Artie's opinion when it's all said and done.
I still say the Days of Thunder scene with the rental car is the best.
It's not better than the scene from Bad Boys with the Porsche, man.
Bad Boys is a good scene. The rental car scene with Days of Thunder is good.
I wish we had time to pull the Bad Boys.
Well, maybe Artie can pull it up while,
Because
All right, we're done with this
Will Smith goes to Martin Lawrence after that. All right, cut this, Artie. Will Smith goes to him. He said, "Now that's how you drive."
It's a great scene.
Great scene, great line.
And the car is awesome.
Just like Sports Daily, just like today's show. But we're done. That's it.
We are done. Do we want to
chase
see
is
if we
over.
can pull up the Bad Boys chase real quick?
We'll show them the bad. Everybody's seen the Bad Boys chase. It's not like The Rock. It's a movie that
okay.
everybody's seen.
All right. Then that's how it is.
I just need to see The Rock. Maybe everybody else has seen it.
You need to see the Days of
Artie,
Thunder
what'd you
one.
think about that chase scene, Artie? Real quick before we go.
What did I think? It was
Did
good.
he answer?
Yeah, he goes, what did I think? Yeah, we're listening.
It was good. I mean,
even
it wasn't the best chase scene.
Yeah, I said it wasn't the best. Days of Thunder, man. You got to watch that. All right.
Exactly. Artie, what about Bad Boys? You like the Bad Boys chase scene?
He doesn't even
I've
know what
never
Bad
seen
Boys
it.
is.
Never seen it.
You know what? Typical Artie. He's never seen Bad Boys.
It's all right.
Well, there you go, Artie.
Sports Daily, Cinco de Mayo, baby.
In between
Enjoy.
your BBMs this weekend, rent Bad Boys and watch the chase scene so we can talk about it Monday or something.
That's it. Sports Daily. I'm Michael Artsis. He's Darrell Reid. We'll be back tomorrow. Lock it in.